Last year the brakes weren't overly important. The track we were on, which was just down there, was not very steep. Yeah, there was not many that got there without a bit of jumping out and pushing sort of action. This year I believe it's a bit steeper because it's down there, isn't it? So basically what that means, because this track also has some corners, braking actually becomes a bit important. So if you have a super fast car with terrible brakes, you're actually going to find it pretty hard because you won't be able to slow down. So braking is more important this year than it was last year. There's quite a lot of different ways you can do braking. You know, so if you're using bike wheels, you were talking about using BMX bike wheels, right?
Yeah, we're just going to keep the BMX brakes.
Perfect. You know, so the bike brakes are typically a caliper which sits and grips onto the rim. So you have to mount that somehow. But you know, you've got a little cable. You can attach the cable wherever and just pull the handle. Magnificent. You know, so where you can use existing braking systems, it's really great.
I saw a photo last year. The guy had sticks. It was just
that was an advanced braking mechanism.
And so, I mean, that's the classic one, and it's a little bit like this one here. The classic one is to have, you know, like a piece of timber which comes down and is bolted onto the side of the chassis. You pull it, and the other end hits against the ground, right? It doesn't work very well, but it's a classic, right? And it's really easy to do, right?
I think I talked about it long way, yeah. It's actually hot onto a stick, right, freehand.
I've actually saw a few of those rip off as well, right? Because
if you push forward, you can push it against the wheel, like.
Yep. So some of them, and I wonder whether this one actually was that. I'm not sure. Some of them will come down and just push against the outside of a wheel as well, right? So that can work. I've seen some where they'll have it mounted again on a long stick. They'll have it mounted so they pull one end and it pushes down on the wheel. So there's a whole lot of different ways you can achieve it. I think the other one. So if you look at what's on a go-kart, what a go-kart does is so they've got a solid rear axle that goes all the way through before their wheels out the side. And they, at one point on that axle, they've got a brake disc, you know, like a bike brake disc, really, you know, a pedal bike sort of thing. So they've got a brake disc at one point on that solid axle, and again, you know, they use their foot pedal for braking. Doesn't matter what the mechanism is, you've just got to be able to access it and use it, you know. So they're the sort of more common ways we see of braking, but really, braking can be done so many different ways. What's not allowed, so feet on the road doesn't count. It's actually got to have a braking mechanism of some sort, right? The way we tested it last year, so for scrutineering, what we did was we basically found a really steep bit of road and then went, apply the brakes, does it roll? And in the back of my mind, because I'm really interested to go on this little walk, we'll do that in a second, I'm interested to see how steep this is, because I'm wondering whether that test will be good enough for this year, and whether I might need to just tweak that test a little bit.
You're doing a static test, are you? Just holding it there with the
Well,
brake.
that's basically what we were doing, was a static test, right?
No body on it?
Oh yeah, somebody sitting on it and all that
Just
sort of
hold
stuff.
the
But
weight
yeah,
and
will it
see.
not roll?
Okay.
Right? You didn't need much braking. So because in the end, the intention of having that rule around the braking was it's a safety thing, right? So what we don't want is somebody to get a bit wobbly, lose control, and then have no mechanism to slow themselves down before they hit a hay bale. If they can take off half their speed before they hit a hay bale and they have a bit of a stack and they've got a bit of an ouchie, okay, then the brakes have sort of done their job, but we don't want somebody getting hurt, you know, properly hurt. So it's really about that sort of safety aspect of it. But I actually suspect that the brakes will be a pretty useful tool on the course that they've designed this year. So So that's sort of it. So they're the sort of four main components. What we'll do next is we'll just talk through those rules quickly. So I've got them here in front of me.